want to be a bird when I grow up. She was in first grade, and she really wanted to be a bird when she grew up. She thought about it every single day. Well, one morning, during lunch at school, she noticed these red bumps on her arms and her neck. And she whispers to herself, "It's happening. It's happening." She thought her transformation to a bird was happening right then and there, and she was sitting down preparing for feathers to pop out of her skin. She then freaks out and grabs the nearest teacher. Mrs. Johnson? Sweetheart, what is wrong? I'm just a kid. I don't want to become a bird yet. What? The teacher had no idea what that meant. I have no idea what that means. The nurse gets called. Mom gets called. Turns out she was allergic to something she ate during lunch, and it was pretty bad. She had to be rushed to the hospital. That's crazy. This teacher had a candy tax. So one of my subscribers sent me the story. It was period one teacher. No food, no drinks allowed, unless it was a water bottle with a lid. But candy? Candy was allowed, with a catch. If you bring candy, I get a cut. And he meant it. There was a jar on his desk. It was a big glass jar, and it was labeled candy tax. So if you had candy, you would walk in. Here you go. You would put a few candies in the jar, sit down, and you were free to eat your candy openly throughout the class. Payment received, my boy. Payment received. But if he caught you eating candy without giving him the tax first, he would walk over. "I didn't see you pay the tax, young man." Here. Too late. It's all mine now. And he would take all the candy you had. For the most part, all the students respected this rule. And honestly, so do I. Gotta pay the candy tax. This bully got smoked. So there's this kid named Mateo. He's super nice, he's quiet, and he always walks around in these old, beat-up New Balance shoes. And then there's Jackson. Super loudmouth. And he wears these $600 limited edition Nikes that everyone compliments. "Hey, yo, check the drip. Nice shoes, Jackson." Thanks. Now, normally, Mateo ignores Jackson because Jackson's constantly making fun of Mateo's shoes. But one day in gym, Mateo had enough. Jackson was like, "Bro, you're still wearing those nasty-ass crusty shoes? You're probably super poor, you freaking idiot." Everyone laughs. Mateo doesn't. Because here's the secret. Mateo is a walking sneaker encyclopedia. He can spot a pair of fake sneakers from a mile away. And nobody knew this about him. And Jackson, those $600 shoes, Mateo's known for months that those are fake. And he's kept quiet because he's a nice guy. Until now. When the class is doing laps around the gym, Mateo sneaks out and heads to the locker room. He opens Jackson's locker because, of course, he never locks it. And he walks out to the gym floor holding the shoes like evidence. "Everybody, yo, dude, those are my shoes. Since y'all want to talk about my shoes, let's talk about Jackson's shoes." He pulls out his phone and he begins comparing pictures of fake shoes to the ones that Jackson has, and they line up. So this is a fake. Look at Jackson's. See that stitching? That's fake. Look at the logo. It's completely off. It's in the wrong font. Look at the sole of the shoe. Completely discolored. These are only worth $25. Everyone's like, "What, dude? So you're a frickin' fraud then, huh, Jackson?" "No, I mean, yes. I mean, no." Bro, you can't clown people for their shoes when you're wearing frickin' replicas. I paid more for my New Balances than you did for those fakes. And from then on, nobody made fun of Mateo's shoes ever again. Man, yeah, legend. This school's cafeteria food sucked. So this one school randomly decides that all the cafeteria food has to be low sodium, which really meant
this food tastes like cardboard.
Everything was bland. No pepper, no salt, no sauces, no ranch, no ketchup. Nothing was available to make this food any better. And soon enough, kids are straight up just skipping lunch. But this one kid, Jules, finds a way to beat the system. He goes to the store and he buys a packet of these tiny little hot sauces. Sriracha, there's Taco Bell fire sauce, mango habanero, and this strange green one that's just called the Monster. At first, he just shares it with his table. But then kids started offering him money for squeezes of these hot sauces.
$1 for 2 squeezes. No refunds.
Yeah, that's a pretty ridiculous price for 2 squeezes of a hot sauce, but like I said, the food was so frickin' bland that people were doing anything to enjoy their lunch. And guess what? Business began booming. First day, he makes $8. The next day, he made $12. By Friday, he's got repeat customers, you know? People are wanting hot sauce left and right. He's having to buy new batches.
"Hey, what is that?"
Well, not long after he started, a lunch lady caught him and sent him to the principal. And the entire thing was shut down. But the principal did tell him,
"Hey, Jules, one more thing before you go to detention.
Yeah.
I respect your hustle."
And you gotta respect that he respected that kid's hustle. This kid shows up the second period and says, "Hey, what's up, guys? There was a deer stalking me in the parking lot." "Oh, What? Yeah, I was walking into the building, and I look over, and this deer is just looking at me from behind a tree. I walk a little farther, and there he is at a different tree, still staring at me. So of course, everybody starts making fun of this kid. They're calling him Deer Boy this entire class, and he's like, guys, this is so dumb. I saw a deer. Whatever. Third period starts, and all of a sudden, throughout the entire hall, you hear a giant crash. Guess what it was? A deer literally jumped through one of the classroom windows. Not like near the window, like through it. What was that? What happened? A freaking deer jumped through the classroom window. It's still in the room. Oh my god, he's coming for me. It was an absolutely absurd moment. Nobody knows what to do because this deer's kind of freaking out in this classroom. They don't know what to do with it. Well, this one teacher shows up, Mr. Redding, and apparently Mr. Redding has had a lot of experience with deer. He somehow went in there, calmed it down, and walked it out of the school. How'd you do that, Mr. Redding? Well, I had a pet deer once, and he was my best friend. And after that, everybody stopped calling this kid Deer Boy because obviously there was a deer near the school and it jumped through the window. I wonder if it was coming for him. That's kind of freaky. On Monday, Mr. Davis said, bring a towel and wear old clothes on Friday, class. No explanation, that was it. And the rumors start instantly. Bro, we're painting. No, guys, we're making slime. One kid remembers seeing a package of unfilled water balloons in a Walgreens bag sitting on Mr. Davis's desk. No, guys, listen to me. It's water balloons. That seemed like the most reasonable explanation. And kids got hyped. By Friday, everyone's ready. One kid brings a change of clothes. One kid's wearing goggles. Most of the class is in their swimsuits. They're super hyped. Well, they get in Mr. Davis's class and they walk outside. There's water balloons everywhere. Buckets full of them. And the weather's perfect. This is a dream come true. Yes. Literally a dream. Imagine a water balloon fight in the middle of school day. That's when Mr. Davis says this. All right, class. Today, we are studying projectile motion. Huh? Each of you will take turns throwing one water balloon at that wall right there. Then we'll log your trajectory data and calculate your angles. That's it. It's an actual frickin' lesson. One by one, kids are launching water balloons at this blank wall. One kid really wanted to splash someone, so he fake stumbles and accidentally pops a balloon on one of his classmates. Oops. That felt nice. Hey, no fooling around. It's a 0 for both of you. Now, they were never promised a water balloon fight, but they built themselves up and they truly believed it. This teacher stole a deceased girl's necklace. It was middle school science class. The teacher had them doing some drawings of cells and whatever science stuff, so he had brought out some crayons and colored pencils. Well, he was getting very mad because for the past few days, his students were not putting the class supplies away. And I guess it was really bothering him. But instead of saying something, he told the class, all right, class, we're doing something different tomorrow. I want you all to bring in something very important to you. Something that you would never want to lose. For what? Oh, you'll see. It's gonna be lovely. Well, they brought in their stuff. A girl brought in a necklace. It was the other half to the one she was wearing. Well, the one she brought in belonged to her friend who had died in a snowmobile accident the year before. Somebody else brought a family heirloom. One kid brought in his dad's old watch. His dad had passed away 2 years ago. So it was some pretty important stuff to these kids. Okay, really quick, everybody, hand me your items. Just put them up here on the desk, okay? He put all the items in a cardboard box and said, you will get these back when you start respecting my classroom and my supplies. Okay? What? My dad's watch. No, mister. I need the necklace back, please. He didn't care at all. All of this over some crayons and colored pencils. The class didn't get their things back for over a week. Some parents had to get involved. That was a very big thing, and he never apologized once. This is the craziest bus ride ever. This happened on a 5th grade farm field trip. Middle of nowhere, long bus ride, bumpy roads. Kid in the front goes, ma'am, are we almost there? About 10 miles away, class. Hang tight. Then, boom! Glass explodes. Something smashes through the windshield. Kids are crying. The driver yells, it's a bird! It's a big bird! The teacher looks down and it's a full-grown turkey. Dead. Feathers, blood, just laying there on the aisle of the bus. Okay, nobody panic. Nobody touch the turkey. She grabs a binder and she scoots this giant dead turkey towards the back of the bus by the door. She then opens the back door of the bus and kicks this turkey as hard as she can like a soccer ball. Okay, everybody off the bus, line up against this fence. Head count, please. The kids are still shaking. There's feathers in their hair. Because when she kicked the bird, it kind of exploded a bit. Really traumatic. The new bus will be here in 20 minutes, okay? And she's all calm like she's done this before. The trip was canceled, obviously. When the new bus got there, they all got in and they just went back to the school. But the smell of turkey death lingered on them for hours. This school had a villain. A mayonnaise villain. Every few days, students would be walking up the main staircase when you would hear, ugh, gross. Somebody would scream, hold up their hand, and it would be covered in mayonnaise. The mayonnaise wouldn't be on top of the railing, it would be underneath. It started in the cafeteria stairwell. Then it spread. Math hallway, science wing became a problem. You'd think that they would install cameras or that they would have cameras in the stairwells, but they didn't. So now everyone's terrified of touching railings because obviously some kid has been taking mayonnaise and smearing it under the railings in every single staircase in the school. And it wasn't like a little bit of mayonnaise. It was a lot. Kids are just walking up the stairs now with their hands to their sides because no one's going to touch that stuff. And nobody knows who's doing this. The janitors are mad. The teachers are furious. The principal makes an announcement. Please, whoever's putting mayonnaise under the railings, stop it! It never stops. There was breaks for a few months, but it never stopped. Until one day, it did, 2 years later. And people assume it's because the mayonnaise bandit graduated. But even still, after that, the legend lives on forever. That's disgusting. She liked this boy in her art class. Hi. Hey. The kid was quiet, he was funny, he drew comics in his sketchbook. Well, through a few of her friends, she found out that he lived a couple blocks away from her. Now, she was determined to get closer to this guy. She wanted to do something memorable. So one night at 4 a.m., she sneaks out of her house. She's barefoot, she's in a hoodie, and she's carrying a bag of garbage. She walks 3 blocks to this kid's house. Her heart is pounding. She really wants him to like her back. When she gets there, she takes the garbage bag and she dumps all of the garbage all over his lawn. She then rings the doorbell and sprints home. The next day in class, she overhears this kid talking. Hey, did anything weird happen to anybody else last night? No, why? Somebody dumped garbage all over my lawn at 4 a.m. and then rang my doorbell and ran away. And this was her chance. That was me. Oh, okay. Thanks. Of course. And he didn't talk to her for months after that. Why did she think that would work? That's absolutely insane. For his grandpa's birthday, this kid wanted to do something special. He wanted to give his grandpa a custom phone case, covered with photos of all 9 cousins. So 6 weeks before his grandpa's birthday, he texts all the cousins. So send me a recent picture of yourself so I can include you. Thanks. 2 weeks go by, no response. He reminds them again, but this time he adds a warning. If you don't send one, I'm putting a picture of my dog on there instead. Well, 3 cousins reply with, just grab one off my Instagram. Well, he doesn't. The day before the deadline, he sends out one last text. You have 24 hours, or it's the dog. And they still don't say anything. So when Grandpa's party comes and he unwraps the gift, there it is. 9 photos of this dude's dog. Oh, this is fantastic. He loved it. And these pictures of his grandson's dog, they were awesome. One picture was a dog in a sombrero. The next one, he was wearing a chicken costume. There was one of the dog in a pumpkin patch. Just these really fun, awesome pictures. Well, the cousins are embarrassed, and the cousins' parents are furious. They're like, you did this on purpose. You are petty. But Grandpa, he thinks it's hilarious. Best phone case I've ever had. And that's awesome. So it's this kid's birthday party, and his mom lets her sister, his aunt, make the cake since she's a baker. Well, everyone gathers around and the aunt brings out the cake. Well, the lid comes off and it says, Happy birthday, Kyle and Jason? Kyle's the birthday kid. Jason isn't. Jason is his aunt's son, his cousin. The mom's like, are you serious? Why is your kid's name on my son's cake? And the aunt shrugs. It's fine. They can share. They can blow out the candles together. Absolutely not. This is his birthday, not your son's. So what happened was Kyle's cousin Jason was incredibly spoiled, and he couldn't stand to be at another kid's birthday party. He had to make it about him as well. Well, the 2 sisters start arguing in front of the entire party, and everybody is incredibly uncomfortable. It looks like they're about to start throwing hands, when finally Kyle's mom says, you know what? Take your cake and your spoiled kid and leave my frickin' house. The aunt storms out with the cake. And 10 minutes later, the dad comes in with a cake from Walmart. And the birthday party was saved. But the mom still hasn't talked to her sister since then. For real though, who would think that's okay? 1 week before winter break, the principal called an assembly. If the entire school can go 1 whole week without any write-ups, on Friday will be a free day. Students were like, all right, heck yeah. Nobody thought they would actually do it because that sounds almost impossible. The entire school behaving well enough to not get write-ups. But 3 days in, it was working. I can't believe everyone's going along with this. It's nice. I got milk in my backpack. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, everybody behaved. For the most of Thursday, things were going fine. But people were like, holy crap, we're gonna do this. So of course there was one kid that couldn't help himself. Yo, dude, you good? I think I'm gonna ruin it. No, you're not. You're fine, dude. Just don't do anything. No, I wanna ruin it. It was 10 minutes before the bell rings. This kid goes in front of the principal's office and picks a fight with the secretary. I'm gonna leave early. No, you're not. You don't have a note. Yeah? Well, note this. Did you just knock over my pencil holder? Shut up, idiot. That's it. You are getting a write-up. Principal comes out, this kid gets a write-up, and the entire week was a waste. Friday wasn't a free day. And once the rest of the students found out what this kid did, they gave him hell for the rest of the year. Why would he do that? This is so freaking cool. So it was fall, and a couple kids, they decide to make a backyard carnival. Obviously, it was nothing official. Just some old toys, a plastic table, and whatever junk they could find. One kid stacked some soup cans on a chair. Knock them down, you win a prize. The other kid taped a bucket to the fence. 3 throws for 1 quarter. But then they got creative. Somebody dragged over a busted wagon and tied it to a bike. And suddenly it was a roller coaster. You ready, bro? Get in. I'm in, man. Let's go. All right. This is awesome. Another kid tied a tire to a tree branch. And there you had it. A swing. They did it just for them at first, like a fun way to spend the afternoon. But then kids from the block started to show up. Yo, what is this? It's a carnival, bro. Come on. By the end of the day, the entire backyard was packed, and a ton of kids from the neighborhood were bringing their own stuff over. It was insane. Candy, prizes, homemade rides. Parents were even showing up. Like, what the heck is happening back here? But they loved it. They thought it was super creative. It wasn't professional. It wasn't safe. But for that one day, that backyard was a freaking carnival, baby. And that's awesome. This kid's stepdad worked for Coca-Cola. And because of that, there was a rule in their house. No Pepsi products. Ever. Not in the fridge, not at restaurants, and not at birthday parties. If they were out to dinner. Yeah, I'll take a Coke with my chicken tenders. I'm sorry, we only have Pepsi products. Yeah, nope, pack it up. We are leaving. We're going somewhere else, kids. But my chicken tenders. I said we're going somewhere else. Even when they were hosting parties at their house, if any of their guests came with Pepsi products, pour it out or throw it away. Those are not allowed in this house. I understand some people have a preference between Pepsi and Coke, but this just went a little too far. That dad sounds insane. There's always that one kid in school that would do anything. Not for money or clout, just because. Well, at this school, there was one kid, and he would do whatever anyone dared him to do. Slap a kid with a piece of pizza? Alright. Take a dump in the urinal? I got you. Stand up on a lunch table in the middle of lunch and dump a chocolate milk on his head while he's screaming? He didn't just do it, he committed. People started testing him to see where the line was. I dare you to eat this ladybug, okay? I dare you to toss a spoonful of yogurt on the principal. That's easy. Yeah, there wasn't a line. He would do anything. But here's the weird part. In class, he was completely normal. Yo, what was the homework from yesterday? What was that small package he gave us? It's actually due tomorrow, but super easy. The last question's a trick question though, so be careful. But yeah, you guys should be fine. Let me know if you have any questions. Cool. Well, he didn't have any social media, no Instagram, no TikTok, no Snapchat. So after graduation, he disappeared. And nobody has seen him or heard from him ever since. It was the school's Halloween costume contest. Everybody's in full costume. Teachers, judges, the whole gym is packed. Students are making their walks across the stage and the judges are judging. Though one kid gets up and he's wearing a basic Walmart hot dog costume. But for some reason, the entire school went nuts when they saw it. Yes! Yes! Yeah! Oh my God. They started chanting, "Hot dog kid! Hot dog kid!" And he ends up winning the costume contest. Well, the next year, same contest. The crowd's a little bigger this time, and students are making their way across the stage and the judges are judging. Well, the hot dog kid from the year before shows up dressed as a penguin. Big puffy suit, he's making his way, and now it's his turn to stand in the middle of the gym stage. Crickets. The entire gym is quiet. Then he smiles, takes his hand, rips off the penguin costume, and underneath, he's wearing the same hot dog costume from last year. The gym erupts. He's doing it again! He did it again! Hot dog kid is back! Everyone's going crazy. They're chanting hot dog kid over and over and over again. Guess what? He wins again. He walked off that stage a legend for the 2nd year in a row. And then he graduated. But nobody ever forgot Hot Dog Kid. I'll tell you that much. You are not allowed in the nurse's office anymore. He thought she was joking. She wasn't. This kid got banned from medical care. So in 6th grade, there was this kid, let's call him Owen. Always had some weird stomach thing, or headache, or sore throat. Honestly, yeah, he faked it a lot. He'd go to the nurse's office like it was his part-time job. But one day the nurse goes, "Owen, we've seen you 9 times this month. From now on, no more nurse visits unless it's an emergency." He's like, okay, what? Well, 2 weeks later, gym class. They're playing dodgeball, and Owen face plants into the floor. He's seeing stars. He's holding his head. Oh man, he's in a lot of pain. Coach goes, "I'm gonna take him to the nurse." He walks into the nurse's office, and the nurse literally said this, "Coach, he's playing you. I promise you, he's playing you like a fiddle. He doesn't need the nurse right now. He's completely fine, okay? I don't want to hear it. I have a phone call in 5 minutes." Okay. So for sure, the nurse was being 1000% out of line there. Super dangerous. Anyway, Coach takes Owen back to the gym. "How you feeling, buddy? You okay?" Well, now Owen's slurring his words like, "I'm fine. I think I just need a nap." Eventually, the coach freaks out. He doesn't even want to deal with the nurse anymore. You guys just sit in the bleachers for the rest of class, okay? I'm taking him to the hospital. He leaves the rest of the class there in the gym, and he drives this kid to the hospital himself. Turns out, Owen actually had a mild concussion, and the coach doesn't take this lightly. He brings it up to the school board. The school board is now in panic mode. The nurse is being investigated. Owen is no longer banned from the nurse's office. This could have very well been a lawsuit. Owen fully recovered. But you know him, once he realized the nurse ban was off, he was still in there multiple times a week just to skip class. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? It was said with a straight face. It is not mathematically possible for you to pass this class. It was senior year, the final semester. This kid was failing calculus so bad that looking at his grades made him want to puke. Yeah, he messed up. He didn't do a lot of the homework assignments. He didn't study for a lot of the tests. But now the year's almost over, and if he doesn't pass this class, he doesn't graduate. So one day, he walks up to the teacher and asks her this. Hey, miss, is there still a chance I could pass this class at all? The teacher just says this. Well, Stephen, at this point, I don't think it's mathematically possible for you to pass this class. Are you sure about this? Well, I'm a calculus teacher, so yeah, I'm sure. Well, despite this information, this kid still busted his butt for the last month of school. Paid attention in class, asked a bunch of questions, studied for the final, got a C on the final. And guess what happens? He gets his final grade, and it's a 60%. That's a D, and that is still passing. The teacher saw his effort that last month of school and bumped his grade up for him. And after the final grades were posted, this teacher emailed him. All the email said was, sometimes math isn't about the numbers, it's about the effort. Honestly, gotta respect that teacher. He opened his lunch, looked inside, and oh God, he was starving. He missed breakfast this day. He had a packed lunch and he couldn't wait for his lunch period. He'd been counting down all morning. Well, it's finally his lunch. He sits down, he opens his lunch bag, and what? Yeah, first thing he sees, a container of cold chicken and sauerkraut. Next to it was a weird mustard packet, like one of those from the deli, a Ziploc full of cherry tomatoes, and a boiled egg, just loose, in the lunch bag, floating around. No salt, no napkin, nothing. What? Are you good, homie? I grabbed my dad's lunch. He packs it up, he doesn't eat, doesn't say a word for the rest of lunch. Carries the bag with him all day, and then after school, he goes home, and he walks into his kitchen. Dad, what even is this? Ah, it's my lunch. Yeah, I was wondering why I had yours. Dude, it's nasty. It smells like vinegar, and there's just an egg in there, loose. Hey, that's a good egg. No, Dad, that's a sad egg. A very sad egg. And from that day forward, he made sure to triple check his lunches every morning before school. Honestly, I think that dad's lunch didn't sound too bad. Myself. Recess used to be the best part of the day, but this school ruined it. It started after one kid tripped during freeze tag. The kid hit his head, and the school banned running.
You guys can still play tag, okay? Just walking tag.
Walking tag? What the heck?
So the kids pushed through. They were power shuffling, they were speed walking, they were kind of like twirling around, they weren't running. Well, a girl pivoted too weirdly and she twisted her ankle. So then tag was banned. The kids were like, all right, fine, let's switch to something else. So everyone began to jump rope. Well, as they were going around one day, the rope hit and smacked somebody in the eye, and she was pretty injured, I guess. Then jump ropes. They were banned. They tried catch, but one day the ball hit a teacher.
Ow! Hey, no more balls!
So they started tossing around pine cones, and then they had to stop doing that. So finally, one kid brings Uno. Surely this is gonna be fine. But one day they were having a pretty intense Uno game, and everyone began arguing, and it was almost a full-blown fist fight.
No, man, you are an absolute cheater. I didn't cheat, Steven. Screw you. You smell like crap.
Oh, that's it.
Uno and any other game like that was then banned as well. By spring, there was like nothing they can do. No balls, no ropes, no running, no cards, no pine cones. And at some point, it stopped being recess. It was just kids walking around aimlessly under adult supervision. No talking in groups, absolutely no messing around. They started calling it the yard, like a prison yard. And that's exactly what it looked like. I mean, come on. What's recess without a little risk? 12 weeks, one chicken, and nobody found out. This happened at a farming boarding school, which, first of all, I had no idea a farming boarding school existed, but they do. One weekend, this student goes into town and comes back with a live chicken. A full-grown, living, squawking chicken. No one knows why. Nobody asks questions. All they know is that that chicken lives in his dorm now. He feeds it scraps. He names him Henry. You're such a good boy, Henry. No, you're a good boy. Stop. This went on for 12 weeks. 12 weeks of clucks, feathers, and somehow total secrecy from the authorities. No staff ever caught him, and the people living on the floor didn't say anything. Eventually, he let that chicken go back on a local farm. He was sad, but he planned to visit it, so 2 months after he dropped it off, he stopped by. Hey, I'm here to see Henry. Oh yeah, Henry! He died. A coyote ate him last night. Gnarly scene.
What?
His carcass is out back. You want to see it? No! Rest in peace, Henry. Now this is unfortunate. One day during school, it's in between classes, and this kid is booking it down the hallway. He's running to the bathroom. Why? Because he needs to throw up. So he's running, he's holding his stomach, he's sweating. It looks pretty bad. But the history teacher sees this. He's strict, he's very dramatic. Hey, you there! We do not run in the corridor! The kid doesn't say anything, he just keeps running. Oh no, you don't! The teacher blocks off the hallway with his arms. But as he says this next thing in the middle of a sentence, this kid pukes, and it goes into the teacher's mouth. You will walk respect. What? The teacher then pukes. The kid continues to go to the bathroom, and the entire hallway's watching like, yo, what the freaking heck just happened? Obviously, the kid never got in trouble for running because, well, he was feeling sick. But the history teacher's reputation was tainted permanently. That's insane. Yo, this is karma. So when they were younger, these two best friends had this habit. They would drive around at night smashing mailboxes for fun. One drove, the other would swing the bat outside the window. Nice. One night, they spot this loose mailbox that caught their eye. And instead of hitting it, the friend got out and yanked it completely out of the ground and threw it in the middle of the street. Yo, just pulled it out. And it was a big mailbox with this long metal pole. And now it's just laying in the middle of the street. They drive off. They're laughing. They're blasting music. Then they decide to make their way back home. And they're speeding. They're going really fast. When all of a sudden the driver's like, wait, isn't this the same road that, bam, the car hits something? It's the mailbox that they put in the middle of the street. The big mailbox. They get out to inspect the damage. The mailbox had put a major dent right in the front of the car, and half of it was under, and it kind of tore some stuff up underneath as well. The car was screwed. Bro, you're screwed. Me? You're the one that pulled it out. You told me to. They had no choice. This kid had to call his dad, and his dad had to come and they had to explain everything to him. And yeah, they were in major trouble. This game was banned from the school. It was a game called Get Down, Mr. President, and it worked like this. Anytime, anywhere, somebody could yell, Get down, Mr. President, and every kid in the area would have to put their finger to their ear, like this. Kind of like how Secret Service agents do. But here's the thing. The last person to put their finger to their ear would get tackled by everybody in the area. Gosh darn it! Get 'em! It would be a full-on dog pile. In the hallways, courtyards, band practice one time. It got so bad that one day a kid was tackled into the water fountain and the water fountain fell off the wall. Water was spraying everywhere. One teacher joined in one time and tackled a student. He was then fired, obviously. The school eventually banned it. They were calling it a coordinated ambush activity. They put it in the announcements and everything, but that just made it worse. Because people still shouted, Get down, Mr. President. And the kids went, should I play or get in trouble? And most kids still played. That's crazy. This isn't Monsters, Inc. It was a Monday. The class voted on a movie to watch for Friday because they had been good and they had gotten good grades or something like that. Everyone voted. It was a huge thing. The final tally is that Monsters, Inc. was the movie that they were going to watch on Friday. Heck yeah. Monsters, Inc. is awesome. Even the teacher said, that's a great choice, class. I love that movie. Well, cut to Friday. Somebody brought a big bag of popcorn and Ziploc bags. They were passing out popcorn to the whole class. People were hyped. The lights go off. Everyone's ready. And then the teacher says this. Okay, class, today we are watching The Miracle of Wheat Production, a 52-minute educational film made in 1987. You're gonna love this. Okay, so now everybody's confused. What the literal hell is happening right now? She presses play. The movie is grainy. The opening song is a banjo when you hear this. Let's take a journey through the fascinating world of wheat. Well, people don't really know what to say. The teacher's just sitting there smiling. Finally, one kid says loud enough for her to hear, Yo, answer us. What happened to Monsters, Inc.? Well, I realize it might not be educational enough, but you guys are gonna love this movie. I promise. Give it a chance. And they never forgave her for what she did that day. Was that a car on the football field? Yo, that's Miss Shelton. So Miss Shelton had been teaching at this school for forever. AP Chem, strict, she was sharp, she wore heels on lab days, and she'd never smiled. But within these last few weeks, she'd been slipping. Her hair's messy, she's forgetting the schedule. She told one kid, I am this close to quitting, I swear to God. Well, finals week hits. She hands out the tests, and then she just leaves the room. Someone says, do we follow her? Yo, guys, she's outside. And then everybody goes to the window, and she's standing in the parking lot, staring at her car, motionless. Half the class is watching, half the class is sitting back down, starting the test, when all of a sudden you hear, boom! Tires screeching. The kids run back to the window. Miss Shelton drives across the curve and onto the football field. And she just starts spinning. She's doing donuts in the middle of the football field. Grass and dirt are flying everywhere. Kids are filming. Teachers and gym staff are running outside to the field to see what's going on. They're screaming, my field! What are you doing? And they're just watching her do this. And all of a sudden, she just drives off the football field and parks in front of the front office. She walks in and hands in her name tag and her keys. Here's my keys and, thanks for everything. I'm done. I'm done. And she leaves. Nobody ever saw her again. Apparently, there were tire marks on that football field for weeks after this incident.
আপনি যে কি করে আপনি তাতে কোনো কমন সেন্স নেই আমার বাসায় কিছু সবাই দেখে ফেলে
রাত 10টায় আমি ফোন দিব আর একবারের বেশি যদি রিং হয় মামা মালটা তো জোস সরি 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 ভাবি তুই যা তুই পারবি তুই দেখ কিভাবে কই সেটিং মিটিং নাই তো সেটিং মানে বুঝো না পেন্টিরিতি ও তো আমাদের ভাবি হয় ওই হিসাবে আমাদের বিয়ে হিসাব আপনি
আচ্ছা দাঁড়া ওয়েট কর আমাকে একটু ভাবতে দে দেখি কি করা যায় দোস্ত তুই থাক আমি যাই
আমি থাকবো মানে
তুই থাক দোস্ত
রক্ত লাগবে রে রক্ত আসবো না মানে
হ্যাঁ তাই তো শুনলাম
আসবো না ঠিক আছে দেখতেছি ব্যাপারটা যাও
কি রে তুই কোচিং এ যাস না কেন
দোস্ত আমি কোচিং এ কিভাবে যাব বল এই গুন্ডাটা যে আমাকে ডিস্টার্ব করে তুই দেখতেই তো পারছস ডেইলি আমার পিছনে লাগে থাকে
আমার ভালোবাসার গল্পটা অপূর্ণ রয়ে গেল গলবে পাখির মন গলবে এমন মন্ত্র দেব
এভাবে রাস্তাঘাটে একটা মেয়েকে উত্তক্ত করে আর নিজের গায়ে রক্ত দিয়ে
যে ফোন আমার ছেলের লাইফস্টাইল নষ্ট করে সে ফোন আমি রাখবো না এটাই আমার সিদ্ধান্ত বাবা তোমাকে এবার আমাদের মতো করে চলতে হবে ইউটিউবের ভিউ দিয়ে আমাদের খেতে হবে না
সো আমি যার সাথে দেখা করতে যাচ্ছি সে যদি স্ট্রেট ফরওয়ার্ড না হয় তাহলে তার খবরই আছে
আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে ভাই আমি যাচ্ছি এদেরকে ছাড়েন আমি উঠতেছি ভাই আমার ভক্তকুল কিন্তু আপনার থানা ঘেরাও করে ফেলবে ওকে নো ওয়ারিজ আমি আবার এসব বিষয়ে অনেক উদার চলো
ওকে লেটস ডু ইট টুগেদার
বাই টাটা
পেয়ে গেলাম মানে এই যে আমরা একজন একজনের সামনাসামনি চোখাচোখি মুখোমুখি
আমি তোকে ধরতে পারতেছি, ফিল করতে পারছি।
ও ভাইয়া প্র্যাঙ্ক ছিল।
ও প্র্যাঙ্ক, ওকে ওকে, চালিয়ে যান, ক্যারি অন।
রাতিব শুনো,
মাঝখানে ফোকাস ছিল না, ডিফোকাস হয়ে গেছে এই সেই। তুই এটা কোন লেন্স ইউজ করিস?
টেলিলেন্স।
কত?
কেউ যে 50-50।
শোনো, আমি বলছি পসিবল, না কিন্তু এই যে গরম কফি গায়ে ঢেকে দেবো। বলো পসিবল?
ওকে ফাইন, পসিবল।
এই মেয়ে লোকটাকে তুই বিয়ে করতে পারবি?
টিন্ডার থেকে তুমি এর আগে আর কারোর সাথে কফি ডেট করেছো আমি ছাড়া?
হোয়াট? আমাকে কি দেখে মনে হয় চিপ? আমি এক্সক্লুসিভ ভার্সন, ওকে? আই এম নট অ্যাভেলেবল। কি ছিল? কি ছিল?
প্র্যাঙ্ক ছিল, বিশেষ হচ্ছে না এই যে
Prank
আই
ছিল।
সুইট, আই সুইট। ওই যে দেখেন মনোপড নিয়ে দাঁড়ায় আছে, এই যে আরেকজন ইফতে। রাইট, এই শিখেছি তোরে 50 কি টেলিলেন্স নাকি? হ্যাঁ 85 ইউজ করবি, দরকার পড়লে তোর আমি 70-200 কিনা দিব।
তুই টেনশন করিস না। হ্যাঁ, কোনো চোর না, চুরি না, ডাকাতি না, এটা প্র্যাঙ্ক ছিল, টোটালি প্র্যাঙ্ক। প্র্যাঙ্ক শিখাইছে ওস্তাদ। কেমন হলো প্র্যাঙ্ক?
তুমি পড়ো, ঘুমাও তাহলে। গুড নাইট আর বাই।
সহজে কোনো কিছু পাওয়ার মজা নাই, কিন্তু আমগো দোষ জিসান কি কম।
ও জামুই তো, তুই চুপ থাক।
আমি তো কিন্তু চিনি না।
চিনো না যে আজকে চিনলা, আরো চিনবা, আস্তে আস্তে চিনবা। আর শুনো,
আরে বেন সাহেব, নতুন নতুন সম্বন্ধ তো তাই চিনতে পারেন নাই। ওই যে আপনার বান্ধবী তুলি আছে না?
আমার তো তাহলে বিশাল বিপদ। আমি তাহলে কোচিং এ কেমনে যাব? পড়াশোনা কিভাবে করবো? আমার তো ভয় লাগতেছে।
কি খবর?
আসসালামু আলাইকুম।
ওয়ালাইকুম আসসালাম। কি খবর? 3, 2, 1। আর আজকে রাত 10টা। হ্যাঁ, রক্ত জ্ঞান, ইতিহাস লিখবো, ভালোবাসার ইতিহাস।
ভালো আছি, আপনি ভালো আছেন?
আমি তো ভালো আছি। তো তোমার বোন কোথায়?
আচ্ছা, একটা মিনিট, আমি কল দিচ্ছি।
এক রাতে ভালো হয়ে গেল, এটাও আমার বিশ্বাস করতে হবে? দোস্ত, আমার না ভয় লাগতেছে।
এই কি করবি? সেই না চেহারা, না হলো কি চেহারা, কথা তো বেশি, চেহারা ওরকম বেশি।
আপনি না শুই না দেখা সব জানা ফেলছেন বাবা।